This is going to be a second film study look at Jack Campbell and how he played in the Lions' 27-7 loss to the Jags in Week 2 of the preseason. I think some of the other guys at inside linebacker, Barnes and Rodriguez, have played well at times also, but to me, Jack Campbell seems to have been everywhere. He's always at the point of attack. I love how he tempos the football. There's a unique thing that he does compared to some other inside linebackers. I thought Rodriguez took on blocks very well against the Giants, did a couple of very team oriented things this week against the Jags, but to me Jack Campbell really stood out. He's put together some really good film in 2 games. I'm not sure who's the starter and all those things. To me, Jack Campbell looks like the guy who's playing the best against this level of competition so far. He had 7 tackles, 4 solos against the Jags. He showed up against the run consistently, tempos the running back well. What he does that's interesting to me is he doesn't just fit in the right place, but he gets there at the right time. And that's a skill. That's actually 2 skills in and of themselves. Not just being in the right place, but be there at the right time. He's almost reading it the same way a running back does. It's really cool. I'll show how physical he was against blockers, how impervious he is to contact sometimes and plays through contact. His complete dedication to get to the football. I'll show one very savvy play against the pass on the 2-point conversion after the touchdown pass to Parker Washington. And then I'll show maybe one thing to work on that I think maybe NFL teams will pick up on film for the regular season. So let's get to the film. And as usual, I'll try to just preface each play with the situation. This is the second possession. I think it's a 2nd and 10. No, excuse me. This is a 1st and 10. And this is going to be a run by Tank Bigsby, who played extremely well behind that offensive line. Derek Barnes kind of misses the tackle in the backfield. But I just love how he tempos the ball. You can see that the possibility exists for the running back to try to fit in there, but the running back still got some depth. Campbell doesn't fit things too soon. He fits things in the right place at the right time. He's almost a guy who's in 2 gaps at once, and that's not something I've said about a lot of linebackers. It's not something you really want a lot of linebackers to do. Some would say it's not taught. It's just who he is. I think you can promote these skills with constant linebacker drills and using, keys for them to slow them down. In this case, he's got a H-back tight end coming back across the formation that kind of slows him down. He seems to be a guy who can see all of this, the lineman, who can see, the running back potentially on that path, but also understands there's a little bit of a trigger here to slow down and not fast play this, which he does by settling his feet, stays generally square, tackle. It is a 5-yard gain for Tank Bigsby. Like I said, Barnes missed the tackle in the backfield, had an opportunity to make the tackle. 2nd and 10, same possession. It's going to be a 1-yard run by Bigsby. Here is Campbell. Barnes is in there next to him as well. Same situation. This is a perfect fit. It's a perfect fit. You got a tight end H-back pulling late that crosses his face. And he must pick it up in his vision. That's the only thing that I can think I see is that, here's his angle to see the running back, and he must see this guy flashing back across his face because he's there already. So the running back came on this side of the quarterback. But Jack Campbell's seeing the key. Nothing's too fast for him. I don't think that you're going to get to week 1 of the regular season and, things are too fast for him now. That's not this guy. This guy seems to be able to fit not just in the right place, but at the right time, make the tackle. Love his game. Didn't really watch a ton of Iowa film, maybe 3 games from last year. I tried to do some Big Ten stuff. I didn't have time to do a lot of college football, but this guy's fun to watch. Great draft pick. I can see why the front office was super excited about him. Unbelievable fit. And look, there's multiple guys. I love this type of stuff. When you get a DB coming there and somebody stacked up and you pick the leg up, basically, destroys all forward momentum. Sets a little bit of a tone. Same play, all 22. Second, like I said, 2nd and 10. This actually isn't Bigsby back here, I don't think. My bad. This is Hasty. 1-yard gain. Great fit. All right, this is going to be the 3rd possession. The one that ends with an interception. This particular play is a 1st and 10. Bigsby is in the backfield this time, and here's Campbell. It's going to be a 2-yard gain. He scrapes back over the top. He's got 2 keys pulling him to the other side. He's got the left guard pulling, and then the running back potentially crossing the midline to get over to the other side. I'll show you the end zone angle so you know what I mean by crossing the midline. Let me pause it and just explain that briefly. So the midline is, the ball, the quarterback, and the center. They're on the midline. Everything over here, obviously the right side of the midline, everything over here is the left. Running back is on the defense's right for that midline. Jack Campbell's going to get two keys, the pulling guard and the running back potentially crossing the midline as well, which would trigger him to cross the midline. You can see that someone makes contact, an offensive lineman makes contact with him, and he just plays through the contact, stays up, gets involved with the tackle. I had it down as a 2-yard gain. It looks longer than that. End zone angle, here's the guard that I'm talking about right here. Midline, again, is this right here. So your trigger, the guard pulls, and the running back crosses the midline, go. Now, with the RPO game that has been, utilized now in the NFL, college football, and high school and everywhere, there's some times where you don't do that depending on the call, depending on the scheme. Jack Campbell redirects well, just like a running back, if you ask me. He finds the open hole. This is the 2nd and 13, I believe. Pass intercepted by Gilmore. Last week, in a man situation, Campbell blitzed, and he ran. It was on this side of the field. Campbell ran over a running back. I forget who the running back was. It might have been James Robinson for the Giants. But this week, and this is one thing that I would say is a little bit concerning, is how heavy, and I think other teams are going to see, possibly, if he does this all the time, is how heavy he's on this running back to try to get a chuck on him. And you can see now he's turning and running because he's assigned to play man. This is man free. So this would be the only thing from the game that, for me, I would say, hey, let's tone this down a little bit in terms of trying to chuck the guy that aggressively if we're responsible for him and man and he's got a two-way go. What I mean by a two-way go is the running back, after the ball is snapped, could potentially try to sneak out of there to this side or to this side. Campbell has closed off the inside, I think, perfectly. He's left him only one option. Kind of puts himself out of position for a moment. I'll give you all 22 so you can see it. You may disagree with me, but that would be the only slight complaint I would have about anything he did, because I love how he plays against the pass. All right, here he is, and then here's the running back that he's responsible for. Again, this is the ball that Tracy Walker, the third, tips, drops, whatever you want to call it, and then it's intercepted by Stephen Gilmore. I'll be interested to see how many snaps Campbell gets in the third preseason game, and then if he gets any situations like that. Now he's not on the field for this, by the way. This is a 4th and 3, second quarter. This is the 4th possession now. He's actually not on the field, but check out what inside linebackers have to do sometimes covering running backs. Watch the scheme of these guys. Obviously a pick play, screen, not a screen, but a pick to try to screen that defender, the inside linebacker defender, make him go underneath the offensive player while the running back's running a wheel. And this is wide open. This is the ball that Frank Kaminsky knocks down on the pass rush. Try to get something done on Kaminsky Monday afternoon. If Lions fans are interested, let me know in the comment section. But this is one of the things that, inside linebackers have to do. They're going to be stressed in the pass game. And any small weakness, this is not the fault of the boundary side inside linebacker. This is just great scheme. You may want him to, go over the top of this, depending on what route you think is coming. But anything that you put on film is going to be taken advantage of at some point by an NFL team. They're going to see it and they're going to try to exploit it themselves. So that small little window that I say Jack Campbell gave on that 2nd and 13 and the interception by Gilmore is the only complaint I would have from this game. All right, this is the 7th possession. This is after the interception by Nate Sudfeld. It's going to be a touchdown to Parker Washington against Starlin Thomas, I think. But Campbell is going to get a route coming up underneath, like a drag, I believe. He's physical in coverage, and you're going to see it in a moment with the 2-point conversion. I'm showing you these two plays intentionally. He's willing to make contact with people in coverage, and I love it. From coaching linebackers and stuff, and then talking to them after games or on Saturday mornings or during the week, like, what were you thinking? Why did you not make contact with guy? Coach, I was worried about a penalty. And we would try to absolve them of the fear of that penalty. Now in the NFL, it's different. The game is officiated so it's weighted so heavily in the favor of the offense. But I love that he's getting hands on receivers. If you remember the 4th down against the Giants last week, he got hands on that running back out in the flats and paid so much attention to him that the ball hit him in his leg. This is potentially a really, really complete inside linebacker. Can't wait to see how he plays during the regular season. I would expect to see him play similarly with few exceptions. All right, then a 2-point conversion. Not sure if that's Strange there or not. Looks like 85. And then here's Campbell. I think what you're getting is you're getting two, I call them China out. People call them whip routes, whatever you want to call them, but, in, and you'll see the receiver's feet break at the same time. I think that you're supposed to get something like this from the tight end, out, to throw it to the back corner of the end zone, isolated against that DB. Nope, Jack Campbell and the outside or the inside slot safety just decapitate him together. I love that about his game. Whoever's coaching inside linebackers at Iowa is doing drills all the time to get him to get hands, and the Lions inside linebackers coach too, is doing drills to get him to get hands on receivers. They're not scared of getting penalties. That's a good thing. You can't play scared, and the NFL has tried to make people at the second level defenders scared to make contact. He's not. Maybe he'll get some penalties this year, and that'll be officiated out of his game, but I love it right now. That was the touchdown, like I said, to Parker Washington. Made it 12-0, and then that failed two-point conversion. Obviously, still retained 12-0 score. All right, last one, 9th possession. This is on a punt to open the third quarter, or this possession ends up being a punt to open the third quarter. I think you get Campbell and Romeo Okwara combined on the tackle against Hasty. When he needs to come downhill now, he will. He's the backside inside linebacker. Remember the play that I showed you earlier where he got pulling guard? It was the left guard, so it was opposite of this. Pulling guard in the back, crossing the midline. This time he doesn't get a pulling guard because it's not a gap scheme. It's more like a zone scheme, but the running back is crossing the midline, and so Campbell is too. I don't know if I give you the end zone angle of this one. I think I do. You can see that Okwara's at the bottom of the pile. Yeah, I do. Last play. You guys let me know what you think of the video. I'm trying to talk about linebacker read skills, techniques. I certainly don't have, the slightest clue of what they're telling Jack Campbell and most film study people don't of what they're telling NFL guys, but I can see it enough to hopefully explain some of it to you and tell you that it's really freaking good. I like Barnes. I like Rodriguez. Don't get me wrong, but this guy looks really freaking good, really physical, always seems to have a great view of the running back and be able to have, low beams on the lineman in terms of a car headlights and high beams on the running back at the same time, and then be able to adjust and get off blockers. Everything looks like it's there to me. I love the game. I love trying to relay some of the things that I know about inside linebackers to people. This guy's fun to watch for being a young inside linebacker. I'm a Ravens fan, and I'm blessed enough to watch Roquan Smith, and some of the things he does are slightly different than some of the things that Jack Campbell does, but looks like a guy that's going to be super high-level inside linebacker for the Lions team and a great draft pick. People who criticized it on draft night immediately, kind of raised my eyebrows because it was like, man, well, first of all, I didn't know, but now having watched the film, if you look at the other rookies that were drafted in the first round and how some of them are playing compared to Jack Campbell, this guy's having an impact everywhere they put him. And, oh, by the way, I think they have him on punt team as well. And I appreciate you guys' time. If you watched the video this long, you probably already are, but if you haven't done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. I would really appreciate that. And if you think other Lions fans would enjoy this film study video of Jack Campbell, please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it somewhere on social media to help this content get more reach.